Israel paying influencers and terror in Manchester. It's 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV. 5 things you need to know in about 10 minutes for Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. I'm Derek Gilbert. If you want to keep up with news around the clock, you can follow 5 in 10 on Telegram. Just look up the Telegram channel there, 5 in 10, or t.me/5 in 10 will take you there from your web browser. Or you can follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at 5_in_10. I can post links to news as it happens. A little easier to do than in this format, which is more commentary than breaking news anyway. So again, please follow us on Telegram and or X. Keep up with news items throughout the day. Item number 5 today, the government shutdown. Looks like Democrats have walked into a trap. They find themselves in an optics nightmare, which Democrat leaders realized probably too late when they saw CNN's Jake Tapper, who's typically a friendly interview, call out Democratic House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries for the particular political hill the Democrats have chosen to die on, which is providing free health care to illegal migrants. Now, it's not exactly what they're trying to do, but what they are trying to do is restore provisions eliminated in President Trump's big, beautiful bill that provides health care to free illegal migrants. And again, Tapper, typically a friendly interviewer, just saying, yeah, but Democrats realizing the political situation they're in. What's more, they've handed President Trump a gift, besides looking, well, rather stupid for wanting to add 1.5 trillion, that's trillion with a T, to the federal deficit, which is already officially $37.5 trillion. In reality, it's closer to 115 trillion when you factor in unfunded liabilities like Medicare or Medicaid and Social Security. Anyway, they opened the door for President Trump to deliver on the campaign promise to cut waste from the federal government. Now, this is the program that started under Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. That's kind of lost steam until now, because now, with the government officially on shutdown, the president has a lot more power to do things. For example, on Tuesday, the president warned he'd get rid of a lot of things that would heavily impact the Democratic Party, saying we can eliminate many things we didn't want, and they'd be Democrat things. Case in point, on Wednesday morning, left-wing Democratic governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, and her team out there protesting the announcement by Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought that the Trump administration was going to withhold $18 billion in infrastructure projects for New York City because the money was being awarded on the basis of unconstitutional DEI principles. It shows that the administration has a lot more flexibility to do things like this when Congress ain't working, government bureaucracy not working. The administration can now do what it promised without the obstacles of Democrats getting in the way, which, by the way, is something that a poll back in January by Ipsos found that most Americans support. Democrats shot themselves in the foot with this one. Topic number 4, Israel apparently paying influencers. Not apparently, it's actually been revealed. Following Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's meeting in New York Friday with a group of pro-Israel influencers, it has been revealed that Israel is paying about $7,000 per pro-Israel social media post. This is an effort to change the opinion of Israel among young conservatives here in the U.S. who are beginning to be influenced by the mainstream media. People who think that Israel controls the media probably not paying attention to the media. Because if Israel controlled the media, if Jews controlled the media here in the United States, the media's coverage of Gaza would be a lot more pro-Israel than it is. And this is affecting young conservatives turning on Israel. So a report by an independent journalist named Nick Cleveland Stout, posting at a website called Responsible Statecraft, found in a disclosure filed with the U.S. Department of Justice, required under the Federal Agents Registration Act, or FARA, that These groups are that a group called Bridges Partners, working for the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs, is again paying social media influencers $7,000 per pro-Israel post. The invoices filed under FARA total about $900,000. Started in June. This program slated to end in November. It's called the Esther Project. We've been saying for quite a while that Israel is winning the war on the ground in Gaza, but it is losing the propaganda war. And Israel apparently attempting to change that trajectory through social media posts. I have my doubts about the efficacy, the effectiveness of such a program. In fact, in that image there, can't really see it, but the expression on Prime Minister Netanyahu's face looks like he's dubious as well. Topic number 3, terror in Manchester. There was a vehicle ramming and stabbing attack outside the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue in a suburb of Manchester, England. This left a couple of people dead. And bear in mind, this took place today, Yom Kippur, the holiest day on the Hebrew calendar. This has been declared an act of terrorism by Lawrence Taylor, the head of counterterrorism policing in the UK, adding that the terrorist was neutralized at the scene by police. Said, quote, "We believe we know their identity." Sure looks like a his to me. The pronoun thing, a pet peeve. We know his identity, but for safety reasons at the scene, we're unable to confirm at this stage. Why would they not be releasing the name? I suspect it's because this gentleman, although you can't see it in the picture here, wearing a suicide belt, we suspect this was a deliberate attack on a Jewish congregation intended to terrorize them on Yom Kippur. Bear in mind that the population, the Muslim population of the United Kingdom, of Europe as a whole, has surged since the beginning of the Syrian civil war in 2011. This is, frankly, a slow suicide by Europe, by the EU, by the UK, and even here in the United States. The Muslim population is currently about 5.9 million. That is a almost 75% increase over the last 25 years. Islam does not want to coexist. Item number 2 today, Nigeria. I have to apologize for not paying enough attention to the situation of our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, and even more of an apology that it took Bill Maher, left-wing comedian Bill Maher, his program Real Time on Friday, brought attention to this ongoing genocide. He hosted South Carolina Representative Nancy Mace, Republican of South Carolina, on her program. She noted during the panel discussion that the media has failed to cover this tragedy, and Maher agreed. And Maher pointed out that the slaughter of Christians in Nigeria has been ignored because Jews aren't involved. When Jews killed a couple of Christians because of a stray tank shell in Gaza, that made the news. A lot of Christians were pointing that out to me. How can you support Israel when they're targeting Christians? The Christian population of Gaza is 0.15% of the population, which is less than the 2% on average in the rest of the Palestinian territories. It's not because they've been persecuted by Israel, it's because they've been persecuted by Muslims. And that's the case in Nigeria, where, according to the International Society for Civil Liberties, for the first 220 days of 2025, 7,000 Christians have been killed in Nigeria. Between 2009 and August of this year, 125,000 Christians in Nigeria have been killed by Muslims. And the government there is complicit in this. I saw a video clip the other day of a congregation in a church that had been burned out, much like this one. Nothing left except the walls, the cinder block walls of the church. And the people were in there singing hymns and giving thanks to Jesus Christ. These are people who had recently lost loved ones in this attack. shot dead by Boko Haram, and giving thanks. This is what genocide looks like. And we here in the West get upset when we get criticized for saying Merry Christmas. That ain't persecution. That's persecution. For them, tribulation is already here. And I am sorry that I have not been more diligent in bringing it to your attention. Coming up, Jimmy Kimmel is back on television and nobody cares. That's next on 5 and 10.
Pedophiles and groomers are more likely to find your child through the use of social media apps, and they'll start a process called grooming.
It's a word that you've heard a lot over the last decade. Groomers exploit foster children in particular because they have a series of attributes that these human traffickers and groomers are looking for.
Most of how human trafficking begins is actually through social media.
They're looking for young people that have a history of running away. So when nobody knows where they're gone, nobody's looking, because they have a history of running away.
Some of the common misconceptions of human trafficking and child abuse, these are all just overseas cartels that show up with white vans and abduct women in the middle of the night.
They're looking for young people with suicidal thoughts or have had adverse childhood experiences. Hello.
They will groom these children by using often fictitious photographs or personas, or pretend to be a sugar daddy.
Pay attention if young girls without money come home with pedicures. Where were you? Oh, no, boyfriend, he's taking good care of me.
The parents don't even ask how this has happened, but it's because they've met up in the middle of the day with someone looking for love who is uncomfortable with being maybe moderately older than what is legally allowed, but I'm gentle.
The number one thing that you can do to make sure that one of your children does not become one of these children is to be present and to be very visible. None of this stuff where your little kids are doing the tricky little selfies and they're on social media and you have no idea who they're talking about.
And slowly over time that becomes, to say toxic is the understatement of the century. It becomes basically a handler/slave type relationship where the children are abducted and eventually not permitted to go home and forced here in the country into forced prostitution at the behest or the handling of a John or someone that's controlling their schedule.
Item number one today, Jimmy Kimmel back on TV, and it appears that very few people care. He got a bit of a surge after he got pulled off the air by ABC following his really outrageous remarks following the assassination of Charlie Kirk. During the second quarter of this year, Jimmy Kimmel Live averaged about 1.8 million viewers. In recent broadcasts, the program averaged about 2.3 million total viewers, which is down 64% from the 6.5 million who tuned in when he made his return to television. Now that sounds like a lot, but bear in mind there are viral videos on YouTube that get a lot more views than that. Viral videos, people shooting video with their cell phones, that get more video, get more attention than Jimmy Kimmel on an average night. After Stephen Colbert was pulled off the air and reportedly losing $40 million a year. Yeah, it's not likely Jimmy Kimmel is going to be on the air much longer. His viewership among 25 to 54-year-old viewers, which is what advertisers want to sell their products to, 73% decrease from the night that he returned. Apparently it takes more than controversy to save the show of an unfunny left-wing comedian. ABC had a perfect opportunity to get rid of a dying show, and they blew it. Well, this week on Skywatch TV, we thank you for your support of what's happening at Whispering Ponies Ranch. The fact that Whispering Ponies Ranch was operating at all this year is nothing short of evidence of the direct intervention of God. So we bring you a report at how lives were changed among children at risk and how your support made that possible. You can watch the program right now at skywatchtv.com. You can watch it over the air. Our broadcast schedule posted at skywatchtv.com/channels. We're on the internet. Of course, you can see us at youtube.com/@Skywatch Television, rumble.com/Skywatch TV, or download our free mobile app to your smartphone or tablet. That brings our programming right into your mobile device, whether it's iOS, Android, or Amazon Kindle Fire. And we have links to all of those app stores at our website, skywatchtv.com/app. Again, follow 5 and 10 online. You'll find us at Telegram, of course, the 5 and 10 channel there, youtube.com/@5in10. If you would, please subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, and hit the like button. And on X, formerly Twitter, @5_in_10. And thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert. This is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV.